Is the present world condition the global cataclysm long foretold, or the door to a prophesied destiny waiting for us to open? Welcome to Navigating the Apocalypse, the new Coronavodcast presentation of the Bridge of Truth. I'm Leone. Longtime viewers of this channel will probably recognize me as the host of many of the videos you've seen posted here, although admittedly a bit older, but hopefully also wiser. But if this is your first time visiting, I'd like to say I'm happy to have you on board. I created the Bridge of Truth 10 years ago with the purpose of sharing different points of view to serve the common good. I was just completing a 12-year personal journey to explore the unification of religion and science. I wanted to try to help resolve the conflicts that seem to occur throughout history as a result of religious differences, but which were then fought with the greatest weapons that technology of the time could provide. My hope was to find a scientifically based model they could use to work together to heal or fix key issues that stood in our way of achieving a better world. While I was researching the book, I met many fascinating people, all who had something special to share, and I created the channel to give them the opportunity to present their message, so hopefully together we could do something positive to that end. Over the next 5 or so years, I posted about 80 videos and gained nearly 8,000 subscribers. About that time, I went through a difficult period in my life, which caused me to reevaluate what I was doing. You may notice the cap that I am wearing. I put it on today to honor my father, who passed away 5 years ago on Mother's Day, which we celebrated just a few weeks ago. He was an amazing man who served during World War II, fought in the Battle of Anzio, and was awarded the Bronze Star for actions taken during the Italy campaign. His death was soon followed by other personal challenges, so I let working on the channel go. I really had no time to create new content, and quite frankly didn't have the heart to. In fact, I just finalized and posted the last video I recorded 4 years ago to bring closure to that part of my journey. But over the next several years, some of the things that kept me going were all the wonderful comments viewers were leaving that let me know how much the videos I created had meant to them, helping them to make changes in their own lives. Of course, I hadn't done this by myself, but with all those amazing people that I had met, beginning with my very first guests, Anthony Citro and Stephanie Azaria. Just a few weeks ago, I had a talk with Anthony about what I wanted to do now, because I felt like the time was right to bring the Bridge of Truth back, but not in the way that it had been. I wanted to create what you might call the Bridge of Truth 2.0, or maybe even the Bridge of Truth 2020. While I was describing my ideas, I happened to say, it's like we're living through the apocalypse. I later thought about that and realized therein was the key to the title I was looking for. Given the recent dramatic and drastic changes in our lives, referring to the apocalypse seemed totally appropriate. Now, I'll leave it to you to decide if I'm talking about the apocalypse as biblically prophesied, or perhaps just using that as a metaphor for what we are going through. An upcoming show will cover that very thing. Actually, humanity throughout the ages has been observing similar conflicts and catastrophes, and then relating these issues to their survival and the survival of our planet, with the thought that perhaps this is it. This is the apocalypse. Again, I'm not going to say whether or not that's the case, but we are definitely facing a serious challenge now, and it's up to us to see and work towards a future that reflects more the ideal world religions throughout the ages had foretold. It was one that humanity was certainly capable of, corroborated by the progress of scientific discoveries, but certainly not one we would be likely to encounter given the path it has been taking. So I titled my new vodcast Navigating the Apocalypse, not to emphasize the cataclysmic doom and gloom implication, but rather to address how we can get through the things that are happening now. Not just survive them, but how can we thrive in them? How can we make things better? Because people are looking to the past and they're saying, why can't we go back to the way it was? From my perspective, quite frankly, the past wasn't all that great. Sure, there were aspects of greatness in the progress we had made to advance the human condition, but at what sacrifice to ourselves and our planet? Think about it. Look at all the inequity and iniquity daily being uncovered. For 4.5 billion years, our planet has just been going through the process of being a planet. But since the dawn of the industrial age, we have been influencing its inhabitability. One of the core adages about history is that what you don't learn from, you are forced to relive. The truth is, time only travels in one direction, despite Hollywood's propensity for speculating otherwise. You can't go back. You can only move forward. And it's up to us, the choices that we make individually and collectively, as to what that future will be. Can't this be the time when we finally learn our lessons and make the necessary changes so we don't relive them? Current technology has afforded me the ability to do the Bridge of Truth now in the form that I had always envisioned, which would be a live, interactive presentation where guests could be interviewed from all over the world, literally, and viewers could interact in real time. And that's exactly what has happened. We've been forced to find creative alternatives to advance and adopt new technologies to communicate with one another in these circumstances when we can't physically be there. So in that, we are actually being presented with the means we can all use to make something happen, to find new ways to do things that we hadn't done before. Rather than living in the past and trying to recreate those actions that perhaps even got us to the place we're in right now, we can move forward together in positive co-creation. I decided to call this my introductory episode, How to Thrive in the New Normal. Exploring that question will be the express purpose of this vodcast. But can we? What will it take? Are there solutions that can enable this? The clear answer is there must be, or we will have left our children a future beyond repair. The new normal is a catchphrase that probably some news person invented while looking for a clever way to market the phenomenon that we were globally participating in. And as to what usually happens when one person inspires and then through mass media disseminates such an encapsulating phrase, whereby it catches on all of a sudden, almost like the virus itself, the new normal has become our established way of referring to what's going on right now. But I want to be clear. What's happening here is not new. Challenges have confronted humanity throughout the ages. In fact, it is commonly recognized that the virus we are now experiencing and trying to survive is very similar to one that humanity had to overcome 100 years ago. And it was a comparable situation where there were no vaccines and no drugs and no means to avoid or control it. We had to figure out a way to get through it and get past it, and in doing so become stronger and better. And in dealing with the latest challenge, the better angels in all of us are coming out and bringing light to the darkness that does exist and that even helped create the situation we're in. Today's new is the future's used to be. What is old to us today was new yesterday. And when this new is over, some other new will replace it. So perhaps it's better just to refer to this moment as the now, since whatever is happening today will most certainly be different tomorrow. As to the second word in the catchphrase, this is definitely not normal. This isn't how humanity was meant to exist. We were provided through spirit or biology with talents and abilities, wisdom and power that we have left untapped or disregarded or overlooked or perhaps just never believed in. Consider that it's been taught to us by the great spiritual teachers throughout the ages what our destiny is. And science, when serving its higher purpose, has equally shone light on all the good and positive things that we can create to accomplish it. In this moment, then, it is important for us to know we haven't been left on our own. We are here together, connected by a unifying, eternal, and infinite consciousness. And we have been provided with the spiritual and physical tools we need to make the necessary changes and proceed beyond tomorrow's door. So I'm glad to have you here and welcome you to take an active role in this venture. If you have an idea for a show, can recommend someone, or feel qualified to participate yourself, please leave a note in the comments. My goal, once things get rolling, is to broadcast on a weekly basis and cover topics with my guests that focus on the issues at hand and how we can thrive in the new normal. My first guest will be one from the very show I did to inaugurate the Bridge of Truth, Anthony Citro. And it's funny that the show we had produced at the time, called The Cosmological Guidepost for 2012, was concerned with the possibility that the upcoming date, 12-12-12, might perhaps either be a harbinger of some disaster then to come, or a precursor to humanity's enlightenment. So here we are, 8 years later. As I queried at the top of this video, is our present condition the global cataclysm long foretold, or the door to our prophesied destiny waiting for us to open? Given how the divine and the universal are entwined, I'd say it's likely both. Now, whether you're a longtime friend or a new arrival, I invite you to join in so that together we can begin navigating the apocalypse.